Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Coach Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I think we're going live on YouTube. We're recording on Zoom now. Let me just, yeah, I hear that echo. Yeah, hang on. Bam. Okay, very good. And view. Hi, Patty. Exit full screen. Guys, give me a minute just to set me up for live on Facebook, and we'll get started for another installment of Get a Clue in 52. That Get a Clue in 52 underscore tip number 22 tonight. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're gonna start that going. All right, so I think we're going live on Facebook now. Welcome to another installment of Get a Clue in 52, 8:01 p.m. I'm just a minute behind. I'm in a great mood tonight. Just actually woke up from a brief little Memorial Day nap, so I've got my energy about me, and I'll tell you why I'm in a good mood in a little bit, but let me get everything introduced right away. Get a Clue in 52, we know by now, is 52 tips, 5 categories, 10 tips in each category, except for the category that we're in right now. Marketing has 12, 2 extra tips, which gave me a full year's worth. Tonight is tip 12 in the marketing section, tip 22 overall. And it's been a fun journey so far. The first section that we covered was communication. Now we're in marketing. We're going to move on to networking, then sales, then accountability. So we've got a long way to go, and in the year and in the book, but can you believe we're at the end of May already? One more month and we're halfway through the year. So it just seems to just go fast, right? It seems to go fast. I want to say thank you to Charlie and Patty who are here with me on the Zoom side. If anybody wants to participate in live interaction, it doesn't have to always just be Charlie and Patty. Last year we had a lot more people the first time I went through this. This, of course, is the second year I'm going through this. Give me 1 second here. Wasn't going to want to have to hold that back for an hour. All right, thank you. This is the second time going through this. Last year, in the first edition of the book, we did the 52 consecutive weeks. We zoomed it, live streamed it all, zoomed it and live streamed it all into the Facebook group, Get a Clue in 52. This year, we are live streaming into my YouTube channel, Watch Get a Clue, all one word. So if you're watching a replay on Watch Get a Clue on YouTube, or whether you're following us live on Facebook, of course, Charlie and Patty are here with me live on the Zoom side. So easy to join via Zoom. It's just tinyurl.com/get a clue. Very easy to join. So let me go ahead and review the first 11 tips. Patty, I'm going to challenge myself to just review them without explaining them. Thank you for laughing. Listen, if I can't laugh at myself, nobody else can laugh at me. No. You can all laugh at me. All right. I am laughing at myself, and Patty knows why. All right. So to review the first 11 tips in the marketing section, tip number 1 was know what you need to know, then know it. Tip number 2 was know your ideal customers. Tip number 3, know the competition. I know, Patty, you're so impressed already. Tip number 4, know the conditions. Tip number 5, know the issues. Tip number 6, know your stuff. Tip number 7, know your brand or brands, plural. Tip number 8, know the drivers of buyer or human psychology. Tip number 9, know a good wordsmith. I know one. Do you know one? Know a good wordsmith. That's always fun. And then tip number 10 is mind the gap. Know the difference between brand and branding. Then tip number 11 was know or create the channels. Know or create the channels. So let me just say this before I get into tip number 12, page 61. I took some time last week, right, Patty? Yeah. I took some time last week to let you guys know what was going on in my life. I was in Las Vegas. Do you guys remember? Last week I was in Las Vegas. It was the 5th night, in fact. And I was nervous, wasn't I? I was nervous and distracted because I went in there with a mission to get a condo under contract. Perhaps now you guys know there's my dad's flag in the background. My parents died last year in September. Now 6-7 months have gone by. A lot of the estate probate stuff has settled, And even getting a roommate into the house, my brother lived with them, even getting a roommate in there with them, it's still a little too much house. So I did a cash out refi, and I went to Vegas last week on a mission to put a bunch of cash down on a condo. Well, I didn't realize, or I underestimated how hot the market is right now. It's a seller's market, and all of these sellers are listing condos, and there's a lot of inventory on the market, but it's all getting snatched up real quick. Everything has multiple offers on it. And every realtor I called, and by the way, I wanted to be efficient. I used to have a broker's license and a real estate license here in California. I've coached realtors, mortgage brokers, estate planning attorneys, financial advisors, fiduciaries, life insurance people. Like, I know the real estate game pretty well. So my strategy was to go directly to the listing agents to see if they could show the property to me and double represent, to find a listing where the seller would be okay with the listing agent representing me, the buyer, so I could be efficient and competitive. Not so much to get the deal. If there was a deal there, that was nice, but more to be efficient and competitive in a crazy market. Time was of the essence for me. I only had 5 nights in town, and here I was last week, a week ago tonight, the 5th night, and I had one offer in on one condo, and there was nothing else that was attractive or appealing. We would have felt like we were settling, or would have felt even icky about some of the other choices that were in budget. So I underestimated a lot, but I'm here to tell you our offer got accepted. We found out the next day, Monday, our offer was accepted. We opened escrow. My brother was like, we were both like just waterworks, tears, crying for joy. It's a perfect situation in the Canyon Gate area. Like close to Summerlin, North Spring Valley, South Sutherland, Canyon Gate off West Sahara, a very, very, very attractive area. Perfect place, master bedrooms separated by the open living area, so they're not bothering each other with nighttime noises and stuff like that. And it's guarded and patrolled, and it's got all kinds of resort-like amenities inside for them. And I'm like, dang, I want to live here. This place is so cool. But success. So cheers to me and my family, and for following through that mission. I'm going to enjoy a Samuel Adams tonight. He was a Brewer and a Patriot, but when it's time for me to wet my whistle tonight, it's going to be Porch Rocker from Samuel Adams. All right. So I wanted to update you guys on that. Thank you, Patty. Jumping for joy, because there was all these what's happening is money is so cheap right now. People are refinancing their homes into the low interest rate, and then they have a lot of equity and a lot of money available to cash out and get more assets in their portfolio, more property. So all this money from California is going into Vegas, and all cash investors are coming in with all cash offers, waiving appraisal contingencies, and it's like really competitive. So I'm just really excited that this piece of the puzzle of picking up the pieces after my parents passed, the after deal is coming together now. Some certainty, some security. Anyway, I digress. So back to marketing. I just thought I'd share that part of my life. I usually share what's going on in my life if it's on my mind, and tonight it is. So here we go. Tip number 12 in marketing. This is the last tip in this section, and then next week we'll start with the networking section, which is the section we started with last year. All right, here we go. Know the destinations. Page number 61. To put it very simply, if I'm selling breakfast cereal, I do not buy advertising time on the Jimmy Fallon show. If I'm selling beer, I do not buy advertising on the Disney Channel. It is really easy to know where not to put your marketing messages, and a bit harder to know where to put them. Very closely related to tip number 2, know your ideal customer, is know where they go. Where will they go? Where do they want to go? Where are they? What do they pass en route to where they are going? These questions will reveal more and more possibilities for where to put marketing messages, which in turn will give you even more choices on what channels you'll use to get the messages to those destinations. In tip number 11, the pro sporting event exercise focused on all the channels that could be used to create or get a message to the fans attending a game. Well, it's intimate knowledge of the destination, the physical stadium itself, as well as what takes place there that allows so much creativity for choosing and creating channels for marketing messages. A marketer that knows exactly where the target customer will be and exactly what takes place at the where is a marketer more likely to imagine or create the best messages and channels for that particular location, event, or experience? Jack in the Box, who's headquartered here in San Diego. Let's give our tip our hat to Jack in the Box, not because it's the healthiest food, but they are a very successfully marketed franchise. Here we go. Bottom of page 61. Jack in the Box has a promotion at Lakers basketball games that if the Lakers win and hold their opponent under 100 points, all fans in attendance will receive a coupon for 2 free tacos when exiting the arena. This promotion is genius because the fans are reminded over the loudspeaker several times during the game. The message may flash on the scoreboard during timeouts, and as the game nears completion, the crowd is chanting, "Taco, taco, taco," urging the Lakers to play greater defense to keep the opponent under 100 points. And if successful, everyone leaves with physical vouchers with the Jack in the Box branding all over it for the tacos that might stay in someone's car for days or weeks before it's redeemed or thrown away. It takes more than just knowing taco eaters. It takes more than just knowing that taco eaters go to basketball games to come up with a promotion like that. Again, knowing where they will be and what happens at the where they will be is critical to genius marketing. All right, I'll give another example that's fresh off the top of my head. It's very simple in the real estate game, because that's what's on my mind right now. In real estate, when you go to look at a property, whether it's a buyer's agent or a lister agent, whoever lets you, as soon as you walk in, usually most properties, they're empty when they're available to be looked at. But guess what you'll always see? Patty, can you open up your microphone? I don't know how much experience you have recently, but I think this is a time-tested and true practice. What's one thing you can expect to see when you walk into a place that you're viewing that's on the market?
Well, usually there's a list of features that the product has, the house has.
Okay, so like maybe a little thing like could take one and you pick it up and then list everything. Well, what's on the table, kind of like not in any neat, organized way, but what's on the table scattered around next to that thing?
Business cards.
Of who?
Of other realtors that have shown
that know what? That know that buyers are coming by, that know, do you understand?
Yeah.
So the sometimes lenders leave their cards. They're like, hey, are you checking out this property? Do you need a loan? Are you pre-qualified yet? Call me. So it's a very simple example, but in real estate, they know people are going to be going through buyers agents, other listing agents, vendors, and everybody needs to network and know one another, right? So that's just an example that's off the top of my mind. Like, hey, I know people are going to be here, so I'm going to leave my card there. At very minimum, I want that listing agent to call me back because I brought a buyer by. Does that make sense? So I was very much paying attention to how examples I could pull from my experience in searching for a property to weave into what we're talking about here and get a clue in 52. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about marketing. Tonight was tip number 12 in the marketing section. And this tip is all about knowing the destination, knowing who's your target, where are they headed? What will they see along the way to where they're headed, right? And when they're there, what goes on when they're there that allows you to create better marketing messages, right? Let me go ahead and open up. I've asked you guys to open up. Charlie, Patty, any comments or questions from you guys, or whether it's about tonight's tip or anything else that I can help you with? We're on Get a Clue in 52. And don't worry, Charlie, earlier in the week during one of my group mentoring sessions, Patty is a member of my group mentoring. If anybody's interested in group mentoring, I mentor people on leadership, on motivation plus accountability equals results. It's group mentoring on the integrity game, which is different what we're doing here. It's like training people to be leaders and coaches, advisors, mentors, training people to get engagement, motivation, and accountability out into the world. It's very different from what we're doing here. I charge money for it. Tonight, Sunday nights are free. But it is, Charlie, those sessions are so dynamic. Very rarely do we have a group mentoring session where a Cluby snack doesn't emerge. So we're ready for you tonight, my brother. I'm looking for my notes. I'm checking my notes already to find out where I wrote it down. But Patty, you'll remind me, right? I always ask Patty to remind me.
I surely will, Coach Jeff.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So, but before we get to the Klubi snack, I mean, that's always, a nice way to end the session. What other topics might you want to talk about? Do you have any questions about what we covered tonight, or any of the other tips in marketing, in the marketing section, or anything that you got might be going through that you want my coaching support from? Everything we do tonight is free. So take good advantage. We've opened up, and if you guys are out there watching somewhere in Facebook land or on YouTube and you want to join, it's very simple. It's it's Zoom, right? The URL is tinyurl.com/get a clue, and then you can come on in on the Zoom side. But let me go ahead and get the audio going so anybody on the Facebook side can hear the interaction. Let me go ahead and test to make sure that the computer is working just fine. I think I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me right now?
Yes.
Patty, you can hear me okay?
Yes, Coach Jeff, we can hear you.
But it's pretty automatic now. All right, so I'm going to swap this camera angle and say, hey, Patty, hey, Charlie, any comments or questions from you guys tonight?
I don't have one right off the top of my tongue right now.
Okay.
I'll defer to Charlie.
Charlie, you got anything?
Hi, Coach Jeff. No. Yeah, it is knowing where your ideal client would be hanging around and what they would be doing. And mostly we will be going into networking next week. So part of that is within networking and knowing who you are looking, who your ideal client is, where they will be, and then get out there and network with them so that you can really find out kind of research and survey, are your services or products exactly what they want? So it's also like where you can assess, are they at the right place, what you have to offer, is it their needs, what can you solve their problems, how can you add value to them?
Yeah, I didn't hear a question there, but I'm just going to go ahead and agree with you. I mean, I'm not hearing.
I know it was more a comment than a question.
Yeah, that's fine. That's great. I even if it's just sharing your understanding of what we're talking about, agreeing, that's fine. I mean, I don't think I'm talking about anything too controversial. I like to bring new thoughts, new perspectives on usual topics of discussion for entrepreneurs, business growth seekers, personal, professional growth seekers. There's things that we always talk about, and I like to add some new perspectives onto things. But my take on this is, I get really impressed, like at concerts or festivals or sporting events. Like those are such prime examples of where people can get creative about how to insert marketing messages. I mean, we all know about trade shows, right? And swag bags, right? Giveaways and so forth. It's like, we come to expect that stuff. Oh, let me go to a trade show and come back with a bunch of swag. And a lot of that swag ends up as like white elephant gifts come holiday time, which is kind of funny. But, I really am, how should I say, entertained by the creative process of imagining where my target customer is going to be, and then figuring out what are the most creative ways I can advertise to my target market. So, that's what this tip number 12 is all about. I'm going to go ahead and keep requesting comments or questions, because we can, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have to stay on just to stay on. Brief sessions are fine. Brevity is the soul of wit, in fact. But Patty, what do you got?
Well, I was just curious. How did you find that real estate person in Las Vegas? Did you follow something they did with marketing?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's what I'm most proud of is what I did when I found them. The how I found them is quite honestly the easy part. On Realtor.com, Realtor list. Now the MLS, multiple listing service, that is the primary place. You have to have a membership, a real estate license, and you have to be listed with a broker and licensed. And you have to be official to get access to the MLS, and that's where the primary heartbeat of real estate. But a smart agent with the ad, as websites have risen over the last 20 years, 30 years, I guess the first time I interacted with Realtor.com might have been geez, at the turn of the century, really, the early 2000s, right? So well over 20 years now, I think Realtor.com has been thriving. But I just looked on Realtor.com. I could have looked on Zillow. That's another one, Zillow or what have you. But it was Realtor.com, the one that I used. They're not paying me to say this. You asked me the question, right? And the listings are there. Now, what's interesting, I'll check this out. The first thing that happens is, it says, are you interested in this property? Do you want to see this property? Do you want to learn more? And then I click, I'm like, yeah, I want to learn more, but I didn't read it carefully enough. Like I went in and it was just now the system has my information. And then every realtor that has some sort of membership or subscription to realtor.com knows that I'm interested in a property. And then I got contacted by all these people that wanted to represent me as a buyer's agent. Like, no, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to the listing agent. So if you do your diligence and you look at the listing thoroughly enough, you find out who the listing is presented by. So you'll find out who the broker is and who the agent is. And then you can actually get their personal contact information with, it's just a couple of clicks, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so like I had to, it was over the weekend or whatever, I had to call and I had to leave messages and I had to get callbacks and all of that. But very often, it's very easy to find the cell phone number of the listing agent, right? So I did that. I was calling listing agents and I was saying, hey, look, I'm an unrepresented buyer from California. I know a lot about real estate because I've been licensed in California, but I don't have a license in Vegas, so I need someone to show me property. I don't want to work with buyer's agents. I want to work directly with the listing agent. Is that okay? Now, I already knew that either that would be okay or they would find another agent in their office to handle it. So either the seller would let them double represent as long as it was fully disclosed above board, or right. Some brokers have a policy just to avoid it because of the problems that it can create. So what I knew what they would do then is they'd say, well, I can't show you the property, but I can get my assistant, my associate. So if you were a real estate agent, you build a team, right? And you've got agents beneath you, you can have a different agent, but the same it's the same broker, but two different agents, right? To try to keep arm's length and protect the integrity of the negotiation, right? And the business transaction and so forth. So I just got lucky, man. On this one property, the woman was listing, and the woman, I'm not going to call her the woman. I'm going to use her name. If anybody's watching this in the future and you need a kick-ass realtor in Las Vegas, her name is Janessa Henderson. She is awesome, awesome, awesome. All of the great personality and conversation and communication skills, dotting I's, crossing T's, attention to details as well. So she's like really this neat mix. And I think naturally she's a people person, but boy, does she have her stuff together. And she was selling a condo that her cousin was selling, right? So it was her cousin. And so that increased the chances that the cousin would let her dual represent because she was already going to cut her commission for the family deal. So I'll never forget the conversation. I said, hey, Janessa, I'm an unrepresented buyer in from California. I'm in town to get a property under contract for my brother who I need to move out of my deceased parents' house. I was able to, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But also like first thing she said was, hey, this is my cousin's listing. I'm already discounting because of, I can show it to you, but I'm not discounting my commission. I'm like, I don't care about the money. Like you deserve every penny you deserve. What I care about is time. I don't want to drive back to San Diego after being here 3, 4, 5 nights with nothing in hand. I want to be efficient and competitive, and any inside information I could get on how to make the most competitive offer is what I'm looking for, right? So it was a lot of quick communication skill, and they're like, well, we already have multiple offers, and we're only taking offers up till tomorrow night. I'm like, then I need to see it tonight and give me a chance to put an offer together. And she agreed to like show it to me at 6 p.m. that evening. We were on the phone, I think at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it ended up being perfect. And I knew I wanted to make an offer right away. And I was competing with all cash offers and another conventional finance offer. And I had to I put an escalation clause in. That's that she was like wisely advised me to do is, hey, an escalation clause is you agreeing to pay a certain amount of money over whatever the best bona fide, qualified, legitimate offer is, up to a cap, right? So I have to figure out how far I'm willing to go, which made me nervous. And then what if it doesn't appraise at that? If it doesn't appraise at that, then I got to come in with the cash difference between, because I can only borrow as an investor 75% of the appraisal value, but you would need to close with cash to cover the rest. Anyway, ended up getting the property, winning the deal. It was for little over $6,000 less than my cap, and it's going to work out budget wise, and it's going to be perfect for my brother and his roommate. And then I'm going to be able to rent out my parents' place for market value rent for that home, rather than just accepting whatever my brother can afford to pay. And then my wife and I coming up with the difference. So I'm just really, really, really immensely thrilled. Like, this is a big win for my family. Not just, my wife and I and the kids, but my brother, especially. The legacy, my dad's dying wish was to keep a roof over my brother's head, but he didn't say it had to be the same roof that they were living in before. So it's like a stock split, right? Like, we had one property, now we have two, and they're going to be appropriately getting their mortgages paid off. And anyway, just, I feel very victorious. And it was a lot of communication skill, a lot of networking skill, Charlie, a lot of know your stuff, knowledge of the real estate market. I had a plan. I was determined. I had skill sets. I did research. I had resources. I was ready to go. There was so much in this little venture. And, but a week ago tonight, I was nervous, thinking, oh my God, am I going to have to drive back to San Diego tomorrow with nothing in hand? And that's when I was on the phone with you guys doing Get a Clue in 52. And sure enough, the very next day I met her. We adjusted the offer, put the escalation clause in there. My brother and I went out golfing, and we were praying and golfing and golfing and praying. And we came off the golf course, and there it was, text message, we won. And I told my brother, and he had to pull over, and we were both crying waterworks for like a good 5-7 minutes with just joy and relief and excitement and overwhelmed, really, with good positive emotions. So here we are, Get a Clue in 52. I think I spent more time tonight talking about my personal venture and success in getting a property under contract in Vegas last week. But there's so many things in this book that helped me do it. And that's one of the things I love about this book is its applicability in everyday life. And, Patty, I don't know if that answers your question originally. I feel like
it answered the question, and then you expounded on it.
And then I went off. Yeah.
But
at least I was brief in reviewing the tips tonight. Isn't that funny?
Yes. Kind of extended, but the point was that the realtor knew to be where potential buyers were going to be.
Yeah. Well,
realtor.com. So that was the answer to my question.
But also know your surroundings and know the market conditions. Right, part of marketing. So when I called her, she says, hey, Jeff, my cousin's place is listed for 200. There's another place, a couple doors down that's listed for 205. So you know what she said? Smart woman that she is. She said, if you let me show you the one for 205, I'll meet you tonight and show you my cousin's. Now, why did she do that? Because she knew I was going to find it anyway. I was going to, that was going to be my next phone call, was to call the person listing the one for 205.
Right.
So if he doesn't like my cousins, maybe he'll and I'll get to represent him on something. But then I told her, I said, guess what? If you end up being my favorite realtor in all the land, I'm going to have to do something with my parents' place at some point. So maybe you're going to win yourself more than one deal if you can help me get my offer accepted and solve this immediate problem I have for my family. So I don't know if I'm going to sell my parents' place next year, 5 years, 10 years, but I can tell you right now, I'm not doing anything real estate wise in Vegas without Janessa. She won my heart. She won my mind. She won my business. She was awesome all the way through. And, you're worried that oh my God, I'm a slam dunk offer. She had me captive, to get me to the top of my budget because of the situation. And I thought, oh man, I got nervous at one point. Oh my God. I was imagining this conversation with her and her cousin sounding like, oh my God, no, this guy's desperate. He doesn't want to go back to San Diego empty-handed. We can get a blank check from this guy and we can take him for the peak of his budget. But she wasn't like that. She was really, truly professionally advising me on how to win the deal. And she did it because she understood my parents' my situation. And because I ended up with my offer, I wrote a letter explaining who I am, what the situation is, what my dad's wishes were. And she said the letter that I wrote was really a difference maker. And she went from just transactionally representing me or willing to cheering for me after she knew that I was trying to take care of my brother as my parents' dying wish. So she's a really special person. I've enjoyed every second of working with her. And I say that because if you're watching this and you need somebody special in Las Vegas to take a look at your real estate goals, plans, Janessa Henderson is the one, and just contact me privately. I'll put you guys in touch right away. Yeah, she was awesome. But what I was going to say is that, not just knowing, that she knew I was going to be there. Does that make sense? She knew that I was going to go look at that condo, and she had me on the phone. Said, hey, if you let me show you the one, I'll show you my cousins. If not, why don't you come tomorrow at 1 o'clock? She was trying to push me off till the next day. I said, I can't wait till the next day. I don't have that much time. I need to get something going right away. So, well, if you let me show you the other one, I'll show you this one. And by the time I showed up to look at hers, she said, I called the realtor and they said they're taking it off the market. They already have an offer over list price, all cash. So that I'll find out if they're taking backup offers, but this one's about to go off the market. And so it just worked out that the only ball game in town for me was that piece of property, and we got it. So but she did a great job. Know the market, know your target, know the market conditions, know the competition. You know, she did a great job marketing herself. Last week we talked about, like, she really took the time to understand my situation, and that felt so good. You follow? Know your stuff, know your customers, know the issues they face, right? So she really, you know, she won the deal for all of us, but she also marketed herself into like a beloved position. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always going to equate Vegas and family with her, right? So anything I want to do real estate wise, she's the first call. Other calls, any other comments or questions? Charlie, you're waiting so patiently for a Cluby snack, I'm sure. We're in tip number 22 overall of Get a Clue in 52. Tip number 12 in the marketing section, the last tip in marketing before we move on next week. And Charlie, God, we're going to have so much fun over the next 10 weeks because networking is where we started last year. And boy, was that exciting. All the strategy and all the insight we uncovered when talking about networking, which is really your business. That is your business, is networking and connecting people. But let me just go ahead and ask, are there any other comments, questions, tidbits for tonight before we wrap up and seal with a kiss and offer up a Cluby snack and all of that good stuff?
All good, Coach Jeff. All good.
All good.
Great session.
All right. Patty, my notes, we were talking about one or two. We had a couple.
We had two.
Yeah. What is one of them about mindset?
Yeah. Mindset is the skill set.
Yeah. Or said it this way. You ready, Charlie?
Yes, Coach.
Mindset is skill set. That's one Cluby snack right there. Mindset is skill set.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I know we have another one, Patty, that we talked about, but why don't we go ahead and save it for next week? Is that fair?
I think it's fair. One's enough.
That's good.
We don't want to get Charlie to want two every time.
Well, I know. Two Cluby
I can have as many.
snacks.
I never get satisfied with him. They actually drive me pretty good. And
Well, it's fun. It's just like I have fun with it, whether it's flyby coaching videos or Cluby snack videos or just, wordsmithing and playing around with content, getting people to imagine and think about things in new ways. It's really exciting stuff. It's personal professional growth is serious. So I love that we can have fun with it and make it more fun, make it easier that way. All right. Anything else for tonight?
Absolutely. Yeah, the flyby coaching of Friday's flyby was actually quite excellent, and it speaks exactly to your experience with Jeanette. She actually brought more value to you, and also the experience you've had and how it made you feel. So she actually increased her value and her worth by giving you that service, and you would then also be, like as you've done, is referred and blown a horn, and like that is where you go. So you've actually increased her worth to, and at the same time, she hadn't manipulated the situation to extract the most out of you. So that would give her the sense, or the client, more authenticity to her, and also the empathy part of it within the real estate. A lot of them that I've met are actually just going, it's how much they can squeeze out of you.
Yeah.
But
so
what I got, it wasn't what she was doing.
Yeah, that's what she kept on saying. She's like, I'm so thrilled to be a part of a big moment in your family's lives. Like, it makes her work meaningful. She wants to feel good about the work that she's doing. So like you said, there's a lot of real estate agents that are being transactional, taking advantage of the market, jacking up prices, and, hey, it is what it is. And they kind of are impersonal about what happens to people. They compartmentalize their emotion around anybody's given story because they have a job to do and they're working for themselves. But this woman, Janessa, really connected with my story. And for me and for her, this is more of a transformational deal than a transactional deal. She knew that she was really becoming a very valued member of a family. And she was quite aware of that and behaved that way the entire time. And so it was wonderful. But to the flyby coaching video, which I don't want to get into too much today, they speak for themselves online. If you want to check those out, do some searching, check out my social media pages, and you'll see flyby coaching videos. But it was last week's Flyby Friday where I reposted that earning your worth. You read about earn your worth, or do you know your worth? Are you earning your worth? And just to reveal it, the answer is always yes and no, right? On the one hand, somebody will always be willing to pay you more for what you're doing than what you're charging. So no, you're not earning your worth. But on the other hand, yes, because you said yes to whatever you're receiving. So whatever you agree to, that is your worth. But no, because guess what? There's always more that somebody's willing to pay. What's the answer to increasing our worth? Is becoming more valuable. Hanging out with smarter people, hanging out with better people, being vulnerable enough to learn and grow, and you hang out. Fly with the eagles instead of scratch with the turkeys, etc. Just increase your sphere of influence, the quality of people that you're hanging out with, the value that you bring to situations, and you'll be able to raise your rates, raise your fees because of that worth. So I try to be fun about it. Say, well, yes and no. Yes, because that's what you accepted, but no, because somebody's always willing to pay more. Really? Yeah. How will they pay more? You got to become more valuable. All right. Anything else for tonight, you guys, before we sign off? Get a clue in 52. Tip number 22 overall. Tip number 12 in the marketing section wraps up marketing and gets us ready for networking next week. I'm excited to start that section with you guys.
Yeah.
Anything else for you guys tonight? Happy Sunday.
All good, Coach Jeff. Thank you very much once again.
Yeah, Patty, are you ready? You ready to see it with a kiss, Patty? All right, wonderful. Here we go. Mwah. I'll give you a big fat one out to Facebook. Mwah. All right, fat and sloppy.
Have a great week, everybody.
All right.
Have a great week, both of you. Good to see you again. Right. Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.